Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to Lesson 5 of the Bead Embroidery series. So today we're going to put it all together. And then in Lesson 6, the final video, we're going to sew on the edging. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we're doing today, and then we'll break it down step by step. So we're going to be cutting the Ultra Suede. We're going to be prepping our bead embroidery piece, for gluing. We're going to maybe color the edge a little bit. We're going to cut this out. Yep, that's the scary part. And we're going to glue our piece to our cuff. We're going to make sure it's nice and secure and looks great. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back for the next video and we're going to sew the edge on together. All right, so I'm going to clear this off and we'll get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to get notified when I upload a video. You can share this video if you like. And don't forget that the materials list is in the description box below the video. The down arrow will show more. The box will open. I've just copied and pasted each description box from the first video to the last, so that if you need to look at some materials, you don't have to go back to another video. All right, so I'm going to clear this off and we're going to get started. Okay, so let's just trim our Ultra Suede. So you're all glued down, and if you haven't done this yet, just go back to the video where I glue, and I think it's the previous one. And we're going to just cut this out. So here, this is when I glued it on. This is what it looked like. I've already trimmed some of it just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So just take a very sharp scissor and just do this slowly. You want about a little more than a 1/16 of an inch around here. I might be a little big here, but you can always trim it. So if you get too close, you can't add it. So I'm just erring on the side of slightly larger. This is probably better right here, about that much. But like I said, you can play with that a little bit. So all I'm doing is very gently and very carefully and slowly cutting around my Ultra Suede. Like that. So you're just going to do that all the way down, and I'll probably trim this back a little bit. I mean, if I was doing this not on camera, it would be like right up in my face right now. So that's probably what you'll be doing. So that's fine. You just want to have a little bit of an edge going on there. Okay, so get that done and then come on back and we'll go the next step. So now we're going to take a look at our bead embroidery, and we want to make sure that everything is perfect. Everything is the way we want it to be. So I'm done. I'm very happy. Let me pull out a teeny bit. I'm very happy with how it looks. If you have been holding it on your cuff all along, you'll see that the 1 by 6 inch beading area worked perfectly for the cuff. You might have to add a bead or two here and there, just like maybe right there. There's one I saw as I was looking, little space right there, so I'm going to add a couple of beads there, or one, even one bead is fine. So you just want to prep this so that it's, that it's just the way you want it. Add some beads, check and see if everything is down securely, and like I said, whatever you want to do to have it ready to go. All right, so I'm going to, leave for a second. I'm going to fill in my couple of beads there, and then come back, and we'll go on to the next step. Back, so the moment of truth, cutting. So we're going to cut the entire piece along the edge here, but you want to make sure that you do not cut any of the threads on the back. If you cut these threads, you're going to have loose beads. So you notice my back, I've trimmed all my threads down. We're using the cuff, so if you have a little bit of, some little ends sticking up, it's not a big deal. You're just going to be smushing it down to that cuff anyway. Very technical term. So when you cut this out, you just want to be super careful, okay? So you're just going to cut along the edge. I kind of go back and forth. I start, like cutting an edge off. Just got to go for it. And then I start, I'm going to look here and see where I am. Okay, so I'm just going to start trimming as close as I can. And as I start, I just want to make sure that I'm not cutting any threads. So I'm going to keep going from back to front. This is a long, slow process, but it's worth every second. So here I'm going to cut a little more. See where I am? I haven't cut any threads yet. See how my edge is going to be going this way? I'm going to have to be careful right there. So you're just going to keep trimming along your line like that. So far so good. I'm not going to do the whole thing with you because I really want to get close and personal, up close and personal with this. So here I am. So I'm just going to have to be concerned a little here. So I'll be flipping it over back and forth until I have the entire piece cut out. So go do that. Take your time. Don't make coffee. Make a cup of tea. Have some snacks. Stop periodically. Just make sure you get it as close as you can without cutting the thread. Don't cut the thread. All right, so get that done and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, I'm done. So I've got it all done. I didn't clip any threads. If you did clip a thread, you can always, you know, sew up. Let's say I clipped a thread here. You can always put a thread on, sew through, sew back 3 beads, you know, like come up the backing, go forward and then down just to get that bead back on. Let's say if you clip that one off. So you can do that if if you have to. It happens. I did okay on this, looking pretty good. So, I mean, it looks pretty strange right now, but we're ready to go now. So before we glue this to the cuff, I have a silver or gray magic marker. If you have a blue one, whatever, I kind of pick the color of my background. So, I mean, you can get the bead backing, of course, that is in colors. But if you know, I've done most of mine in the white and it's fine. So I'm just going to color the edges a little bit. So when I look at the edge there, see the white edge? So I'm just going to take my marker and I'm just going to color it in like that. You can even color right here in between, like where you have some open spaces right here. It doesn't have to be just the edge. With the Tallulah cuff, I actually used watercolors and I went throughout my whole cuff, like in spaces that were open, and I put some watercolor paints in there. So here, see how I'm just, make sure you don't want to get the beads. You can get in, like if you have a little space there, do that. Keep going down, getting in that little space there. I'll just go down to the end. And this is perfect. This gives it a nice background. So when you sew the backing on, you won't see any white. Okay, so just do that all the way around and then come on back and we'll glue it to the blank. They're back. So I've done all my coloring and I've really come in a lot wherever I have sort of had some white showing, and that's really going to make a difference. So take your time in doing this, and if you happen to have like some spaces, like big spaces, like I had a pretty big space under this crystal, I went just like this with my thumb and I just colored in there. So when I put it on the cuff, everything will be beautiful. I made sure it came around the edge here a little bit, and you want to make sure it's completely dry before you put it on this guy, because you have your ultra suede here. You don't want to get anything on the ultra suede. All right, so here I am. So what we're going to do now is we're going to glue this to the cuff like that. All right, so at this point, you want to take your E6000, if you're using E6000. I can't use E6000 in the house, or if I can't open the windows. It's winter, I can't open the windows, so I'm going to use Elmer's to glue it on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, so if you use your E6000, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put a whole mass of glue, not like so it globs out, just enough on the back to hold it on. This glue is an extra. I mean, it's going to help a little bit, but you want to, we're going to be sewing this on, so it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to need a ton of glue. And just use your finger or a brush. I didn't pull out a brush like that. Okay, get it a bit to the edges like that. Like I said, you don't have to put a ton on. And then I'm just going to place it on my cuff, and I'm just going to pull that edge right to the edge of my cuff. I'm going to pop on a clothespin. So if you have a clothespin, it's really helpful. And I'm going to pull it to the other side. I'm going to push down, hold it down. Just watch the glue on your fingers because of that light color. Any ultra suede, you don't want to get any glue on it. I'm going to pop another clothespin here. That just to hold it down. Then I'm going to make sure that it's stuck down everywhere. So you see how it's open up there. I'm just going to push. If you need to move your pin a little, your clothespins or whatever a little bit, the E6000 will probably stick a little bit tighter to begin with. let me just get that off my finger. So it's probably better to use the E6000, but like I said, I have to open the windows for that, and I can't right now. So here I'm just going to hold it down. And you make sure in this, you're going to push it down. Wherever you need to, put another clothespin. Or if you're just holding it down at this point, you can put a wide rubber band around it. You just want to make sure it's sticking. And you may have to play with this a little bit to get it to stick really nicely. See how it's coming up a little bit right there? So I'm going to hold that. Make sure it's right at the edge. So do you see how I'm kind of really pulling it to the edge? And then I'm going to put my pin on like that. Be careful with the clothespins on the Ultra Suede. Sometimes it leaves a dent. And especially with this light color, it could leave a real dent. So you just want to make sure you're on nice and tight. So this is, you're going to have to play with this a little bit. You might have to wait a minute or two or hold it, so it really sticks. But the goal is to get your piece, right on the cuff and make sure it's sticking down. So hold it, put on rubber bands, a couple of clothespins, give it a little pull, maneuver it a little bit until it's perfect. Okay, so I'll play with that again off camera. So this is what it's going to look like. There's your cuff so far. Make sure that doesn't show like that. So I'm going to play with this a little bit off camera. Don't worry about it if it comes a teeny bit over the edge. It's not a problem. We want to make sure everything's covered. Just make sure it's sort of even all the way around like that. Okay. All right, so get that done. Play with it, hold it. Make sure you're nice and tight. See, mine's starting to tighten up now that the glue is getting a little more tacky. All right, and then you're just going to leave it like this overnight. Okay, and then we're going to come back for the last video, and we're going to put on the edging, and you'll have a cuff. All right, so have fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative and helpful, and I'll see you on the last video, the last bead embroidery video. Take care. Bye-bye.